My name is Carl Richards. I've been in this business of speaking for 25 years, and Alfonso, thanks for stretching me to get me back on a live stage this weekend, because we spent the last 3 years in a virtual space, so thank you. I'm going to get right to it because I have a very short time to share with you some amazing things, because let's face it, we really want to be seen as experts, don't we? Who wants to be seen as an expert? Who wants everyone to see themselves as an expert? Okay, well, we have some challenges with that, though, because for a lot of us, we're the invisible expert. Real estate agents, investors, lawyers, we're invisible. Or we're sort of lost in those quirky, Facebook algorithms. Who feels that way sometimes, that you're lost in those Facebook algorithms? If only you could control them, right? The world would be different. But really what we want to be seen as is the go-to authority. And I quickly want to share with you today what we do and how we can help you be seen as the go-to authority as opposed to the invisible expert. And it's something I like to call the 5 myths. And these myths have come up before, by the way. Remember websites when they were new? A few years ago? Yeah, well, you know what? These same 5 myths came up back then too, because a lot of people didn't think that we needed websites 10, 15, 20 years ago. So these are the 5 myths keeping you from being seen as the go-to expert. The first myth is the money myth. Turn to your neighbor and say, "Show me the money." Yeah, well, here's the thing with the money myth. What we're really seeing is we're not understanding the value of what a podcast is going to bring. What we should be asking is, how can I bring value to my audience, which of course is the individuals who I'm going to partner with, my joint venture partners, my fellow investors, people who are going to want to leverage their time and expand with me. Okay, so that's the money myth. The second myth is the competition myth. There are over 5 million podcasts worldwide. 5 million. Turn to your neighbor and say, "That's a lot of podcasts." Here's the thing, about 60% of them are active, the other 40 are not. And you know what? Compare that to the number of blogs. For every 400 blogs, there's 1 podcast. So there's still a huge opportunity for you to be seen as the expert in that space. One of my favorites, the content myth. Raise your hand if in the last, year, you've posted something on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or ran a course. I said raise your hand. I guess I should have started it first. If you ran a course or a program or anything like that, there's where your content comes from. So it's not about not having the content, it's about understanding how to curate your content so it's ready for a podcast. The fourth myth is the tech myth. I love this myth. What do we do when we don't know how to do something? What do we do? If you needed your appendix removed, would you try and figure out how to do it on your own? Probably not. I would hope you would go to the expert. It's the same thing with a podcast. You want to leverage that, and that's exactly what we do. So that's the tech myth. And then there's the time myth. I just don't have time. Who wishes you could cram another couple of hours in the day to get everything done that you want to do? Yeah, now the hands are going up. So those are the 5 myths. And once we've busted through those myths, then you know what? Now it's where the fun begins of putting that podcast together so you as investors, lawyers, joint venture partners can be seen as the expert, just like we're going to unveil something very soon, actually. I'm really excited about this, which could be why I'm so jittery. I'm excited. But we have a 3-step process. It's called the Podcast Solutions Blueprint, which really helps to put this into perspective. All right, I'll quickly go through it. The first P is the planning stage. That's where we sit down and figure out what's your launch strategy, what's your show going to be about, who's your target audience, and what's the ultimate goal that you want to have from that show. Who do you want to attract as listeners, as viewers? Who do you want to have as your audience? And then who do you want to bring on board with you, right? The second P is the production. That's where we do all of the recording and editing and mixing and putting it all together and making sure all the links and show notes and all that stuff is all put together for you. That's the second P, the production. The third P is where we sometimes fall short. But that's where we start to say, yes, we have a podcast. Here's one of the challenges that happens in this space. Experts will launch a podcast and then they'll say, I have a podcast. Shh, don't tell anybody I have a podcast. You have to tell people you have a podcast. It needs to be exciting. You need to be able to promote it, share it on social media, and also, with algorithms and all kinds of other tools that we help you to develop, and even some simple marketing, but then also monetization strategies too. That's all part of the promotional phase, which helps you be successful. And you'll notice they all intersect because they all are a part of this process, all of them. And they all have to be there to make this work, because here's the thing. What do we want to do? We want to go from being the unheard expert. And the unheard expert, by the way, is the person that has holes in their calendar because it's not filled with the sales calls or the appointments or the meetings that they want to have. That individual doesn't have the joint venture partners or the strategists or professionals working with them that they want to have. And they don't have speaking opportunities like a lot of the experts on the stage today have. But where you really want to be, though, is the go-to authority over here. This is where you get to choose who you work with. You get to choose your partners. You get to choose the people who you're investing with and partnering with. You even get to choose your speaking engagements and maybe even turn some down. That's where everyone wants to be. And right in the middle, right about here, this is where the Podcast Solutions Blueprint comes into play. You need that piece in the middle in order to go from the unheard expert or the unknown expert to the go-to authority. And you do that with the Podcast Solutions Blueprint, and that's what I do all the time, every single day. I get so excited about it. I get to help professionals, experts, coaches, consultants, investors, lawyers, doctors go from being in that unheard place to the go-to authority. Who wants to be heard? Excellent. Let's start the journey then. There are a couple ways to work with me. Number one, if you are ready to go now and you say, Carl, I need a podcast and I need it almost yesterday, then we need to have a conversation and quickly. So those of you who have expressed interest in that, thank you so much. For everyone else, we have our Jump Start journey. It's our Jump Start boot camp, which is going to be in July on the 18th. It's a full day where we will help you develop your show strategy, your basic launch roadmap, your content and tech for your first 5 episodes, and time optimization strategies to get you going. At the end of that, you will be ready to launch your podcast. You'll be well on your way to being an authority. Who wants to be an authority again? Click the QR code. It's usually $6.97. It's $4.97 for anyone in this WealthGenius Expand Room conference this weekend. I have expanded in more ways than one since COVID, but seriously, I have expanded. Thank you, Alfonso, for helping me expand. We've helped him expand as well. Take a look at this.
Whoa, this is it. I'm doing this for the rest of my life. What do you mean you just made double someone's income in one deal?
This has helped us to do things beyond what we even thought.
People underestimate the value of tapping into someone else's experience. Oh, wow, like this is really taking off.
We made $250,000.
Well, I think that's genius.
Mm-hmm. That is WealthGenius.
Totally.
We will see you all at the top.
You guys have been great. We'll see you at the top.